We shouldn't have 4 on this. 145 is going to break and go parallel.
A firm. 130's in the VSTR. I'm going to try to get secondary.
South Bay City Avenue.
Tell me when roads and I'll hold to the side view.
I'll do it on this corner.
With the going to hold with wide right, holding wide right.
Disregard.
Right, east South Rockford Drive. South merging Palomino.
Eastbound Mutiny Road. Off-roading toward Davis and Strawberry. Eastbound Davis. Right, East Carson.
Right. Right, South Roy Lowenstein Boulevard. Into an alley of Roy Lowenstein. ECB.
Nothing on didn't see it go north, unsure.
I didn't see anything north. I was north pretty early. It could be in the barrio.
If I'm on touch London in case they go east. No movement in the silos next to the barrio.
Okay, so I'm being informed now that they went west, likely onto Covenant, not east, in that alley. That was a miscommunication. So.
Copy that.
West through where?
Covenant, like westbound Covenant off of Roy Lowenstein. Last officially known sighting was southbound Roy Low off of Carson.
A firm.
Let's code 6 for about 60 seconds. Southside area, maybe down at the docks. And if we don't find anything within 90 seconds or so, we'll call you. So.
Hey, well, no. Get back. Roll back through that intersection. Throw it in reverse.
He's running.
Okay, now you can just pull it over. Engine off, windows down. Dispatch 130, 1038 southbound Palomino with a grime van. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, sir?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing good. A little bit stressed out, but
stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
Work. It's 9 to 5.
I'm gonna head over to the other side.
I'm gonna go into this little parking spot.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
You forgot about me.
No, I didn't. She's busy. Anyways, you mind rolling this window down?
Oh yeah, no problem. What the hell? There we go.
Perfect. So
I'll even scooch over for you.
No, it's okay. You can stay there. Care to explain what happened over at that intersection?
Oh well, I took a left turn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you know what the issue with that was?
No.
No? Sir,
No,
your job consists of driving and you don't know what went wrong there?
Well, I was following my job orders.
Which are to break the law?
Well, no, we have a policy where we offer 30-minute delivery. You see?
Hmm.
So you gotta make it on time. Otherwise, that falls back on me. You know, I'm just like a small fry in this entire cogwheel of grime. You know what I mean?
And you're gonna let the big fry assign legal responsibility to you? That don't sound right.
Yeah, but you know, when you got a 9-to-5 job, the job market's rough. You gotta do what you gotta do. I'm sure you understand.
Let me
right?
ask you this: why would you not have, as I instructed you to, back up and instead just drive off?
Oh, I genuinely did not hear you. I saw you turn on your lights and I stopped because I thought you were gonna like come around the corner, and I didn't. You pulled up next to that car, so I thought you were talking to that car.
No, I was talking to you.
I genuinely didn't hear you.
We can go ahead and call that 90 UTL.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then once you came around the corner, I saw you were coming towards me, so I pulled over on this side.
So here's the issue: you were speeding, you drove into opposing lanes, you ran a red. None of that is okay.
I understand, sir. I was just trying to get a job done. You know, like because of this, we're already running late, but.
Mm-hmm. You have some identification with you?
Yeah, no problem.
Go ahead and see that. You know what? You're free to go. Have a wonderful day.
Oh, thank you.
I may have potentially just heard the vehicle westbound into Little Seoul. It sounded like it was in a traffic stop nearby. Can't confirm. Yeah, I'm be real. I think this being rear-wheel drive just makes it so much worse than the Taurus. There's definitely too much wheel spin. It also suffers from this weird, like, I think it's first to second degree shift, or maybe third to second. That. It's almost, oh wait, I know what it is. It's the whole like double clutch for brake boost. I don't know what the fuck it is. Because it's a rear wheel drive car. Yeah, okay. So first to second or second to third? It's not a difficult car to drive. It's just not as good. I also have a massive preference for all-wheel drive cars. Cutting east onto Haywick probably be a good measure of speed. This is a long, relatively bumpy road. Okay. All right, we almost died. We almost died. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, don't quite know what that was, but... Eighth gear. I don't know if it's the 7th to 8th gear shift that is causing the wheels to like do some strange thing. I didn't forget about you.
20-minute warning.
Okay. What are you doing?
Nothing right now. I'm just driving over with Eto. She's doing some, I don't know, council stuff.
Ruth is processing somebody.
Okay, yeah.
So unfortunately, she's still tied up.
Okay.
When you saw
It's
me
fine.
about 2 minutes prior, a call sort of concluded, but they had somebody under arrest.
All right, no, it's fine. Listen, basically, to fill you in, obviously with this Turner stuff, it's nobody's fault. But I'm itching to get started, you know. But I was interviewing for shift 3 into 1, so I figured I might just talk to Ruth and be like, okay, can I just get hired for shift 1 for now until Turner gets back, and then just work shift 1 instead if she's happy? Like, I don't know whether that's the thing that they're doing or whether all captains need to approve on a hire. I don't know.
Well, for what it's worth, when we spoke to Slacks earlier, we did bring you up. Me, Barrick, and Flop.
Yeah,
though both Barrick and I, or not Barrick, Flop and I made it clear, like, hey, kind of biased. Just a reminder, Flop is our son.
With a U.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the...
Very small.
I would love to see the court's determination on that.
You know, one day someone's going to sit on us, you know.
And so what if they do?
Oh, wait,
hold on. Wait, I have an idea. What if what if you text me a picture of a sun painted in MS Paint, okay? Yeah. Like, you know, like the typical like cartoony sun, and then you point at it and you put Flop.
Or I just put Flop's face in the middle of a sun.
Exactly, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, that's like preemptive defense, you know?
Exactly, like... it's something we've always done. He's always been our son. And you know what? Okay. It kind of just like, honey, you know, son, right? It's the family thing. It's all about you. Sorry. I hate myself. Pretty smart. That was pretty good. I'm sorry. I hate myself. I'm gonna head over to Mission Row and speak with Ruth and figure out how far. What the fuck is this on the side of the road?
Yeah, you let me know. Give me a bell. I'll be around there.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
I'll call you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
What the fuck are we supposed to do with this? A state ID? I don't know. Hmm. I don't really know what to make of this. One second. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I don't really know.
Dispatch 12738 northbound Elgin Ave tow truck.
Dispatch 1038 westbound place underneath Elysian Fields Freeway with a black bison, lumber on the back. Pied once. Engine off, windows down, please.
Hi.
Hello. I'm Officer Rhodes, Los Santos Police Department. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. No complaints. Now, just out of curiosity, do you have any ideas to why I done pulled you over?
No,
No. There's no way you don't know.
I don't.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do you know what the speed limit is?
In this area?
Yeah.
Isn't it higher these days?
Higher than it used to once be.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it, like 55 now?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And do you know how fast you were traveling over on Popular Street as you were merging onto, like Chum and Signal Street?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Well, it was over 55 is the issue.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I just got off the highway. I had the, what is it? The speed limiter on. I must have forgot.
What'd you have the speed limiter set to?
85 on the highway. That's the limit on the highway, right?
Speed limit's 90 on the freeway.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. 55 in the city, and 75 on Route 68, Estancia Road, and Joshua Road.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get the hang of the new limits here.
Right. Okay. You have some identification with you?
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and see that.
Here you go.
Here we are. 1804 for the state ID. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Lombardi. Where are you headed, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm just going down to finish this lumber here.
Oh, okay. When you say finish it, is it like just delivering it, or?
Oh, literally having it finished. They put the finish on.
Oh, I didn't realize. Apologies. Okay. Mr. Lombardi, have you ever been pulled over before?
A long time ago, yeah.
What's a long time ago?
Like over 5 years ago.
Okay. You have any priors?
No.
Okay. Well, that's not bad in the grand scheme of things. So when I go back there and I pull up your record, there ain't gonna be much, right? Is that what you're saying?
I hope so.
Now what about... Oh, hold up. Hey, what the heck? You know what? You're free to go. It's fucking Patty. Dispatch 130, 1038 on a semi-truck off a place, likely occupied twice on the far southwest side. We're gonna fuck with him this time.
How are we doing, officer?
Oh, I'm doing A-okay. How are you?
Yeah, that's what we love to see. You know what? I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Care to explain what the hell that was?
Oh, I don't know who you had pulled over, to be honest.
Well, I had somebody pulled over, and you decided to haul ass past us.
I will say, officer,
sub 55.
I don't think he was speeding this time, and I would be truthful with you.
I know you would be truthful.
I appreciate the haul
but
I don't actually think he was hauling ass.
Here's the thing. My concern here is that vehicles were stopped as a result of the traffic stop, and you opted to go around them without slowing down, right? So
I definitely slowed down.
Okay, so you're doing over 55 prior to?
I mean, on the highway, I was, sure.
I'm not talking about that far back.
Oh, right, okay.
I
mean, no, on this road, once we came off the highway, honestly, I had to slow really, I had to make a 90-degree angle turn, and, yeah, I had to slow way down. So, since I came off the highway, I have not been above 55, unfortunately.
Why is that unfortunate?
Oh, this thing is slow as fuck.
You know he would be going fast if he could.
It takes a bitch to get it out of second gear.
Right.
To his credit, he doesn't have a turbo. And everyone reminds him he doesn't have a turbo or an engine.
You know what? Probably for the better based upon how many times I pulled him over.
You are
it's just a series of
100% correct
at this point, isn't it?
What was that?
It's a series of unfortunate events at this point.
2710-7 vehicle repairs.
If it makes you feel any better or any more justified, officer, he wasn't driving up until about 5 minutes ago because I took over the wheel, and of course, as he is driving
everything
again,
was fine until he decided to drive. Okay.
You guys in cahoots? There's something going on here.
No.
No, he's just my favorite because he pulls you over all the time. And at this point, it's almost like a sport for me about how long till you get pulled over. No matter what circumstance.
Is there anything in there? Is there anything in the back?
No, we're here to pick up something.
Ah, okay.
You see there's a guy there behind them truck trailers.
Oh.
No, the other behind us. Bean machine. There you go.
Ah, okay. Got it. Okay, my only ask is that, when you see vehicles stopped like that, you don't, I understand what the speed limit is, but you need to, listen, I ain't trying to get hit by by anything, okay? You need to slow it down.
Oh, we'd never hit you. You're always behind us anyway.
Respectfully, you have illegally but anonymously called 911 to report that I'm bad at my job because I didn't issue a citation to your partner over there.
About what you're speaking about.
Okay, now you're lying.
Nah, I wouldn't lie to you, officer. I wouldn't lie to you.
Uh-huh. Okay, you know what? You're going to be free to go in the back in the car and the lights are off, okay?
Hey,
but I think it's ironic that somebody who's driving a Packer ain't really packing much.
That's below the belt. That's below the belt.
Hey, you know what? I wasn't making any implications, but you just made it clear that you're not packing below the belt.
God damn it.
5176, latest 911.
Hello.
You're right, honey. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Ruth is heading to Mosley's right now.
Ruth is heading to Mosley's right now? Okay.
Yeah, for vehicle maintenance. I feel like now would be the perfect opportunity.
All right, I'll head down there. I was going to let you know that there's a bloke over at Senior Buns in a taxi driving around just beating up everybody's car with a wrench. I don't know why.
Does he have white hair?
He's got a mask on. He said his name's Malcolm. I don't know whether that's true.
He's hitting everybody's car?
With a wrench, yeah.
Okay. Is it in the parking lot?
Yeah, he did one in the parking lot and one right out front.
Okay. I'm gonna head there now. I will let Ruth know. I'm gonna call Ruth actually and let her know that you'll head over to Mosley's to have a brief conversation.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, I have a car.
You have a car?
Yeah, I bought a car.
Why?
It's a wagon. You know, there's enough room for
It's a wagon.
The family.
It's an
ingot.
It's an ingot.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
That's lovely. Okay. I'll see that in a bit, shall I?
All right. Sounds good. See you soon.
Okay,
I'm calling
bye-bye.
Ruth. Bye.
Captain Ruth.
Hey, Captain Ruth. It's Rhodes. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So I'm actually calling regarding my husband. He was interested in dispatch-related stuff, and from my understanding, he had interviews and was supposed to be talking to Turner, but obviously Turner hasn't been around. So he was asking if he'd be able to have a conversation with you, especially considering his dispatch overlap would, oh my gosh, would be between shift 3 into 1.
Into 1. Okay. I know we are shift 1. We just are hiring 3 people right now. Speaking of, I need to do that. I know Turner had a bunch of notes and things. I can try to go through and see where he was in the process because I don't know exactly what he was doing, so I can try to touch base on that with him in Slacks as well.
Okay. I know he was brought up to Slacks earlier today. Okay. It's just that I think Richard wants to have a conversation with the captains, just to sort of get to know y'all and discuss, you know, whatever it is. Listen, he's the dispatch guy, always has been. Okay. It's something he's very passionate about.
5123.
So yeah, if you're willing to have a conversation with him, I think. I mean, listen, I'm biased. I'm married to the guy, okay? But actually, technically not married, but not divorced.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you trying to claim you're married in this state?
You know what? Yeah, there actually isn't a charge associated with that.
Oh, you are correct, actually.
Yep, and you know what? Flop, who previously used to be adopted, he's our son. He's He's our ray of sunshine. When we say sun, it's with a U.
Group 6 guys
That's,
in the
I
lobby,
mean, to be honest, unless people are,
pallets.
you know, doing it maliciously,
Got
it's,
robbed. Is that the procedure now?
So
Nope, that's
another thing for
littering.
shift 3 stuff, I actually just
What are
had
we supposed to
made
do with it?
a report talking to Slacks.
nothing.
Issues for shift 3, especially while Turner's gone. I know Slacks goes into the beginning of shift 3, and I am usually around during the end of shift 3, so we can try to start taking over those concerns until we get kind of an ETA on Turner.
Got it. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, we so I'll actually update you here. Truthfully, I pulled Slacks aside earlier today and said, listen, like I need some insight from high command, because right now shift 3 as a whole is struggling. It's a logistical nightmare, because if you were to take a look at our roster, we have 11 full officers, but of those 11 full officers, 6 of them are MIA for the most part.
Okay.
The
And
other
that was
5
part of it, is I wanted to know who's inactive, because I know like in shift 1 and shift 2, we've reached out and removed people that are inactive. Like if they weren't going to be coming around.
Obviously with Turner not being around and not being able to see the like day to day, that becomes problematic. Now, truthfully, some of them, like Iris, for example, phenomenal officer, but I'm sure she's you know, dealing with burnout as a result of like, you know, the month and a half that she showed up consistently and had to deal with the same thing every single day with very few units, especially in shift 3. So some of it I don't believe to be like, you know, oh, I'm not working
and some
the
of
shop
it, like
ever
if they just let
again.
us know, like, I need a little bit of break, like that's okay. And I think Turner not being there to have that open line of communication, I think is not a problem.
I feel it's very much so a block on a two-way street, because obviously it's their obligation to communicate to higher ups, but then there's the simultaneous issue of, but there isn't exactly a higher up. Like the past 2 days, Slacks has like really delved into shift 3 for a few hours. But prior to that, not so much. So it becomes a little problematic. But either way, I mean, some of the people I've seen maybe once or twice, like ever. But that's why I kind of mentioned, like, if you were to glance at our shift, it doesn't look that bad until you realize of the 11, only 5 are active at the moment.
Right.
All 5 are FTOs, and between PPOs and cadets, FTOs are outnumbered 3 to 1.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling.
so
Pretty
it's
much,
rough.
I only have FTOs in shift 3.
So, but the thing is, like, we're sitting here, like, we've, Barrick reached out to Turner regarding, you know, what process do we have to follow to get somebody promoted? And we didn't get a response, unfortunately. But
okay.
I
can let you know the process is just create a command report so we know, because captains just have to give the final okay on it.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Essentially, because Barrick and Flop, who are the 2 seniors in shift 3, pretty much asked for just a decent level of autonomy, so that we can do the stuff that we need to in the shift without like oversight behind every single decision. And at the end of the day, if a decision was made that, you know, captains don't agree with, there's no harm in reverting something, right? But us being at least able to like do some stuff, like, truthfully, we had no idea what we were gonna do with PPOs.
I mean, it is in the SOP sort of thing. It just started coming up last week, even for other shifts, because it's the first round of people actually getting promoted.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So we threw out a few names. We had some additional ones, but other concerns came up. Like, for example, Desmond Troy, Cloverfields. Hold on, let me take a look. Not as the problematic people. Lucas Lavender and Liam McMahon were the 4 that I think we were sort of across the board content with pushing to full officer. But then Forte had a recent issue regarding something.
Yeah, Forte has a lot of issues at the moment.
That's not surprising. That is not surprising. Well, because I've had issues with Forte. When I say issues, it's not like it's an everyday thing, but it's like, you know how somebody shows up and they're mostly good, but like drop the ball consistently and don't exactly seem like they learn from their mistakes, but like the mistakes they make aren't major. That's Forte for the most part. Like he's for the most part good, But I feel like sometimes you ask him to do something and he doesn't, or alternatively, there was a pursuit where he pretty much was just like, "Oh, it's fast," and then didn't call anything. And then other units had to question on radio, was it this vehicle? Because they saw a speeding vehicle, but because Forte didn't communicate anything, they didn't know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a conversation with Forte regarding that. And then
I'm going to be honest, he's very much on the chopping block. In multiple situations, he just fully disregards chain of commands.
Ooh. Oh, geez.
Including a situation where a cadet was claiming vomit out of a car and with a senior in an FTO. And he decided to make fun of the cadet, so they told him to join in, where he stated he'd rather quit than do that.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that's a pretty big issue, including like other situations. He's also just disregarded chain of command when he's told to do stuff. So,
and then like I think a lot of us were like mostly content with Selena Frost's performance. There are some issues. But then Slacks was privy to this conversation regarding how she's mostly nowadays shift 2, not even 3.
Yep.
And, I went through and referenced reports, and almost every one of her reports is well within, not even like the tail end of shift 2, like full on shift 2.
Yeah. And so I'm going to, I would like your thoughts on this as well. I have a very big issue of people getting hired and trained up for a shift and then jumping to another shift. I understand they might be an officer and we need numbers, but I think allowing that is creating more of an issue than showing people that we're not going to allow that and they're not going to be promoted past PPO if they're not in their shift to be observed and taken care of by their FTO.
So we actually discussed this between myself, Flop, Barrick, and Slacks while we were having a conversation regarding Frost, because somebody did say, if we start allowing it, then I understand the concept as to why it's an issue, where people will apply to the shift that has the lower barrier to entry because we really need people, such as shift 3, and then transition into either 1 or 2, right?
Yep.
Totally understand. However, I think that becomes problematic, obviously across the board, because we're utilizing shift 3 resources to train somebody who isn't going to be present for shift 3. Yes, problematic. But at the same time, if we need officers across the board, while I think setting an expectation now is not exactly problematic, I think once other shifts are like fully good in terms of their roster, there can be sort of like a hard stance. Whereas for now, I personally, my mindset would be informing cadets, listen, like, at the end of the day, you were assigned to this shift. That is the shift you are expected to be in. However, I think exceptions can be made for people in the event where, life changes happen that result in your shift needing to change or anything like that.
Yeah,
just because
it's right now we have like
them
6
across
different
the board.
people hopping shifts.
Ooh,
Like,
what shift are they hopping from and to?
2 to 1, and then some 3 to 2.
3 to 2. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I think because most shifts need people anyways, right now it's not the biggest deal in the world. And I think communication and verbalization behind, like, listen, people should not be doing it.
In the shifts, we have been very clear, at least I know in shift 2 and 1 academies, that is something we've been very clear. Like, you are hired for the shift, you're expected in the shift. My thought is, like, the FTO also can't watch them in the PPO phase and give them the feedback they need if they're never seeing them because they're never in their shift. So how do we promote them past the PPO?
So that's actually exactly what happened with Selena, because we sat there and we were like, well, if she's showing up for an hour in shift 3, we can't really evaluate much. Like,
correct.
We pretty much have to defer to shift 2 FTOs who have seen her because she's showing up every day in shift 2, and pretty much leave it up to them.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of my barrier of it, is if they're not showing up in their shift, we can't promote them past PPO. Like, I don't think they need to be removed, but until they make an effort to actually make sure they are trained up in their shift, they can't. It's also FTOs. I value all the work all the FTOs put in. It is frustrating, I think, for a lot of FTOs to train somebody up and then them jump shifts.
You're not wrong. However, I will say, I think this is we're looking at two evils here, right? Where it's either like, you know, again, if it's a situation where like life circumstances have changed or whatever the situation is, people are going to tell you one thing, could be another. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. When it comes down to the FTO that trained the person, I think the consideration for if the options are they change to another shift and still utilize that information versus get let go. I know as an FTO, obviously it's not ideal, but the lesser of two evils there is letting them go to another shift because they're still being utilized as a unit, and every single shift right now
needs more people.
Exactly. So I think for me personally, my stance would be obviously making clear to people, you know, it's not going to be allowed, but like it's like a soft limitation, if you will, because at the end of the day, they're needed everywhere. But obviously those people can sort of be identified as like, hey, you know, they kind of slipped through the cracks by trying to claim shift 3 and then swap to 1 or 2. And I think one of the other problems is sometimes people are kind of like an in-between.
And
so
like Suarez kind of had that issue where he was doing like 6-hour shift 1 and 2 shift 2. They talked to him and he kind of split more of a 4 and 4.
Yeah. For me, like the reality is if someone shows up at the beginning of shift 3, the likelihood that they're present at the end of shift 3, not so much. Not everyone's pulling 8-hour days every single day. So somebody coming on duty 3, 4, or 5 hours into shift 3, going, you know, 3 or 4 hours into shift 1 is ideal. It's like the overlap of coverage.
But and I am trying to like hire that for shift 1 is the people who are the earlier one so that they can do like shift 3 into 1, hopefully.
Yeah. King is a prime example of that. Like King shows up 3 hours before, 3-4 hours before. So he sort of falls perfectly within like the 3-4 hours of the end of shift 3 into the beginning of shift 1. They're definitely needed for sure. I can tell you that much because like I said,
I get on duty at 8 a.m. every day. Like 2 hours from now, and there's usually like 2 to 3 people.
Yeah. The past few days with what's his face, Slacks. Yesterday Slacks was on duty for a very long time into shift 3, and activity was fairly good. But that's always been a thing. Typically in the presence of high command, people stick around a little longer. So you know, it was nice to see that, but I don't anticipate it being like a super long-term thing. It's very temporary. It is.
Yeah, it's like right now we have a lot of numbers, but it's a lot of like it's a lot of shift 1 people that I hired that are like end of shift 3 into shift 1.
Yeah. So that's definitely I'm thankful that you're being mindful of that when recruiting, because and
weekends is my other thought. Shift 1 is rough on weekends. I have a lot of people that don't work weekends.
Ooh,
I even
an
hired,
interesting one.
Yeah. Like for example, for FTOs, I usually maybe have Viv on weekends, and that is it for FTOs. So I did make Nakota an FTO as well. He rode with another FTO. That's kind of how in shift 1 we're doing FTOs, doing sort of FTO ride-alongs.
That makes sense.
And so he rode with Jackson, made sure he was fully comfortable, and he's not going to be, because he is the liaison as well, we're not expecting him to be a FTO as much as
the others.
Because he does have that other role as well, but he's also going to cover like a time that we really need coverage. Like Saturdays would be his big FTO day.
Got it. That makes sense.
And even just having one person that can only FTO Saturdays that has like the liaison role, I think is acceptable as long as like everybody's clear on the boundaries of it.
Question: are your FTOs most times taking 2 cadets at once?
Sometimes yes.
Okay.
My seniors are my FTOs. Yeah, they prefer it very much so in the beginning of cadet phases because they're very new and it's a lot of just kind of observing and not them. So in the very beginning, I know they do, but Jackson and Sonia do it all the time. Jackson, I think, is over like 50 hours of FTOs already this month.
Jesus. For us, we actually lucked out in one instance because we had Jimmy Frost, who was previously an officer. And we're not kidding. Barrick and I had the exact same conversation. While he was one of the doubled up cadets, he was practically FTOing the other cadet.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, people retain information better from their peers who they're learning alongside versus somebody just communicating information from a higher position. Because when you're getting that information from somebody higher than you in rank, and you're new, you're going to be nervous, versus somebody who came in at the same time as you, having that information and sort of communicating amongst each other. I think that's like super important if they are working alongside each other. All right. Well, thank you for the conversation.
I've been meaning to kind of have more of these into shift 3 as well, especially with Turner gone. I just wanted to kind of... Slacks and I had a long talk yesterday about a lot of different things, so we're trying to keep an eye on things, trying to get more people in. And to be honest, I would like FTOs more involved in potentially not like the full hiring process, but candidates and when they want academies, because the FTOs are the ones that are going to be putting in that legwork and the hours to train these people. And I think they mostly need to be kept in mind when we're doing academies and what they think they can handle.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And right now, every single shift 3 FTO is burnt out.
Yeah.
It's rough. We understand it be what it be. But that was most of the context behind the conversation with Slacks earlier. Was that like...
I know Watson said she was like in a good state and ready to keep going, but that was like a week ago, so it might have changed since.
Yeah, every FTO I've spoken to, we've pretty much said like straight up, if this round of cadets does not work out, and we are super hopeful that they do, like I don't know that many of us have it in us to continue. Like the first round of cadets in shift 3 specifically was a little disappointing. A lot of them are no longer officers.
Yeah.
But you know, again, it is what it is. We're just, you know, we need people to get pushed from PPO to officer, which we've resolved. Some of which have already expressed interest in FTOing. So
yeah, that's going to be the huge thing. We're getting to that point. Like, give them a week on the streets of being a full officer, and then
they can turn
honestly
around
start
and
doing
help.
that ride along and be like, have them go, take 2 cadets, have them go with you. And when like your FTOs think they're fully ready to fully train on their own, like captains know. And like, feel free to reach out to myself, and I'm going to assume Slacks as well, because I don't see him having an issue with it for anything shift 3 needs from us, because we can try to help out with anything. Like if you're trying to reach out to Turner, he's not answering, or just you see us and want to go to us, that is absolutely okay.
Got it. Sounds good. Regarding Richard, like I said, I know he wanted to have a conversation. You may not have any answers. Would a conversation be something you'd be willing to entertain?
I can do it next week. I just need to get some things. I have academy the next 2 days.
Oh, okay.
So I just gotta get everybody set up for academy and get all the invites and everything sent out today.
All right, sounds good. I'll let him know. Yeah, regarding, oh geez, never mind. You won't have the answer to that because it's a Turner thing.
What's the question?
No, it was specifically just hold on. I'm sorry, some random person approached me in a car. It was specifically in regards to the whole like interview process, and if there had been like any discussion amongst that. But you had already stated that Turner potentially left notes. You just have to look into it.
Yeah, I have to figure out kind of where he's at and all of that.
Sounds good. All right, well, thank you very much.
Do you guys have any dispatchers in shift 3?
I know that it was discussed that Ezra was being considered. I'm not familiar with Ezra. But somebody, I think it was Barrick, mentioned Ezra was always very early shift 3. And Richard used to be the overlap from 3 into 1 before. But rarely do we have a dispatcher in shift 3, truthfully.
Okay. All right. Yeah, shift 1, I don't have one anymore, so that's why. But I have my seniors doing most of that, so I just kind of want to see the status of shift 3, so figure out where Turner left off and try to pick up from there.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, Ruth, have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Hello.
Hey, honey.
Hello.
Okay, so I was speaking to Ruth. I'm sorry, we got caught up in a million different things because obviously I had a conversation with a captain earlier, and this is now another captain, and I just wanted to get her up to speed.
Yeah, it's out.
So I did have a conversation with her. Not exactly like the best of news. Primarily because obviously this was something Turner was originally looking into. She's obviously not Turner, but she suspects that Turner may be left notes regarding the situation, but she doesn't have that at the moment, so she's going to look into it. The thing is, over the next few days there's going to be an academy, so she's got to organize that stuff first before the dispatch related stuff, and then once that's sorted, the dispatch stuff will get looked into, is how it was made to seem.
Okay, thank you.
I know. It's not ideal, but yeah, I'm hopeful that something happens soon, because having a dispatcher would be incredibly nice.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Then why'd you say it like that?
Because Rob was saying that basically there's nobody running the thing, and they're going to need someone to step up. So I was mentally prepared to do so, but it's been like a month, and that motivation is disappearing. I'll be honest. I don't know. Listen, I said this to Etta. We were chatting about it, because Etta was like, you know, there's 3 captains who have got a lot on their plate, but I thought we learned from the restructure that having 1 or 2 people decide who gets hired and who doesn't is a bad idea. So I don't really have any sympathy.
So seemingly a lot of them are relatively new to the job, and so a lot of it is going to unfortunately be trial and error, right? Listen, I hate history, but a lot of people always say, you know, if you don't learn your history, you're bound to repeat the same mistakes. They don't have that history, which means that they are literally going to fall into that. I almost just got hit. They are going to fall into that trap of repeating the mistakes we've already made because they haven't experienced it themselves. Because the reality is, Richard, at the end of the day, people could tell you something's not going to work, but unless they experience it themselves, something may look good on paper, may seem like it's going to work well, but until they see it fail, they're going to follow through with it. It's happened over and over and over. It is what it is. I'm hopeful that in the next week or so the dispatch stuff is considered, because we could really use sorry, Barrick texted me.
4578.
I just don't know what there is to be considered.
Same traffic.
What was that?
I just don't know. What's to be considered? Like, I don't know. I can understand like not wanting to have a decision about how they want dispatch done as like a whole, like SOPs and stuff. But it's very different when it comes to like just an individual or individuals being hired if they've got experience. But maybe we're getting into the same thing of they didn't want older cops getting hired either, huh?
Well, you say that, yet I mean, shift 3, we have Flop, Barrick, Alice, Sky, me, Drader, Pinzone, Iris, Lucas, who else? Jimmy Frost. Who there is, you know, the people who show up every day, Richard, are old cops. I brought that up, by the way, to Slacks.
That's what I mean. Like, that's just proving the fact that it's just proven, because you mentioned like when we had a chat last week that there was some animosity towards like the people who were police officers before when everything collapsed, and yet it's those police officers who are showing up every day.
Yeah, that's true. Slacks did mention something along the lines of like something regarding.
Dispatch 145. Has anybody got a CVPI thing in? Starting in X9N.
Negative. 130 is currently to VSTR.
God, I parked it out front. I'm a fucking moron. Apologies.
Sorry, King is on radio. Regarding like, you know, them being stuck in their old ways, and my immediate response really wanted to be, you know, well, we're fine, right? That's why we're here today.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, people can change. I don't know. Maybe I need to bring up the fact that the mayor used to be a terrorist, and the deputy mayor or whatever they are used to be a terrorist.
But who's like talking about it? Did he give a name? I would have asked for a name.
No,
Like,
no. But you want to know what I told him?
What's that?
I said something along the lines of, oh my gosh, what was it? It was like something along the lines of there being a negative stigma associated with the old guard, and despite that, the people who FTO and show up every day in shift 3, despite the odds being stacked against us, are Flop Dugong, Barrick Johnson, Alice Watson, Skyfae, and me. Yep. And I asked him, I was like, do you realize what is, you know, similar amongst all of us? And he pointed out, yeah, y'all are the old guard. He knows. It's hard to ignore.
Who's he on about?
I don't know. I don't know.
I was just there to ask him. I would have been like, okay, so if these old guard are stuck in their old ways, which person have you hired that is stuck in their own ways and you had to get rid of? I don't think he's gonna be able to name anyone.
Well, but I think that's the thing. I don't think anybody's been hired that they deem problematic.
I'm worried that's what's happening to me.
There's no way. You never did anything
wrong.
wrong.
When everything went to shit.
I don't. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. All right. Well, listen. I thank you for trying anyway. Did you make sure I said? Well, no, it doesn't matter at this point. No,
I pretty much said that you wanted to have a conversation with her. And the way it was worded as a response from her, it wasn't a flat out no. It was just a, you know, I have to take care of like academy stuff. But the timing that I was told before a conversation could be had was a bit excessive. But then again, the responsibility of the entire PD falls on the shoulder of now 2 people. So maybe it's not unreasonable to assume that she needs a considerable amount of time before entertaining a conversation. But I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, thank you for trying anyway.
No problem.
All right. Be safe, okay?
You know what? I'm gonna bring this up to a captain, and I'm gonna say this is the issue. We have somebody competent. We have somebody who's needed in a time period that we need dispatchers, and they have been just ignored.
Listen, this is the thing.
I'm losing my mind.
Bad. No, because I've been in similar positions to Tona where, unfortunately, you can't be around, and that's not like a
but
problem,
back then,
you know.
Well, you're right, because back then there was people were there was delegation, right? People were assigned to do things, so that the entirety of the responsibility of the PD didn't fall on the shoulders of just a couple people. That's the issue.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with the mayor a few days ago.
You did?
Yes. I told them that there are too many bottlenecks. You know what? I said, we don't have a chain of command because we go from recruit to cadet to officer to senior, technically to sergeant and lieutenant, but we ain't got either of those. And then,
you gotta be careful, man. You've got to be real careful, because listen, we've had 5 years ago we had problems where command would get pissy about someone going to a judge and skipping command. Listen, I don't think you're doing anything wrong by having a conversation with the mayor, but if it's about PD related things, and they might get mad at you. I don't know. Okay, yeah.
He did tell me to keep it between us, but you know, you're my honey, okay?
Listen, I'm calling you. There's no such thing as marriage fraud. So you're my husband.
Yeah, agreed. So ascend. Oh, well, actually, for us to get the protections, we need to pay the